Stay with the issue of crime this Sunday afternoon. It looks like there might be a way forward in battling crime, especially in Gauteng. The provincial government is ramping up its fight. The newly recruited crime prevention wardens are expected to start patrolling communities day and night very, very soon. A parade being held at the Tsakane Stadium. It's out in Ekurhuleni to mark the end of their training. My colleague, reporter Moloko Moloto, is there for us. Hello to you, Moloko. So let's get a sense then. I can see them all behind you. The training is done. So when do we see boots on the ground?
Hello, Gareth. Well, the number of the crime prevention wardens who were passing out today here at the Tsakane Stadium in Ekurhuleni is about 1,600 or so. But in total, there's about 6,000 of them who have already graduated. And the Premier of Gauteng, Lesufi, says they will be deployed to various places across the province of Gauteng to assist the police. He emphasizes that they are not replacing the South African police services. They will be working together with them because the Premier acknowledges that Gauteng, when it comes to crime, is under siege. Now, he is saying that they have been employed permanently as the employees of the Gauteng government. He says they have ordered a total of 6 helicopters that will be assisting them, but so far only 2 have arrived. And also he says there's about 180 high-tech drones that he says when the crime wardens have to respond, drones will have to go there first to make an assessment so that the wardens would go into that crime scene knowing how exactly to respond to it. Now, he's saying they are going to be deployed not only in communities, but also in the CBDs of the cities of Gauteng. He was simply saying that those who initially, when he announced this initiative, who believed that it was just a waste of money, he says they are going to eat a humble pie. And we know, obviously, crime in Gauteng is quite high, and in other provinces as well. But he's saying that if you manage to reduce the crime statistics here in Gauteng, the crime statistics across the country would look a little bit better. It would not be the same as it is currently. But also the Premier spoke about what has happened, Gareth, in Soweto at Maponya Mall. We saw the drivers of e-hailing services, Uber as well as Bolt, being attacked allegedly by the taxi drivers there sometime last week. The Premier saying that in this province he will not tolerate lawlessness, saying that they must watch out. That's exactly what he said now that these wardens are joining in. But what he also said was that they will be armed with firearms as they will be continuing with their ongoing training, saying that when the enemy shoots at them, they must be able to shoot back. And that is the language, of course, that we are familiar with, particularly from General Bekitele, the Minister of Police Services, who says shoot when you are being shot at. But maybe let's listen to Premier Panyaza Lesufi.
We are saying to you, crime prevention wardens, you are not going to do your work alone. From now on, we are deploying almost 180 drones that will go and search the place first so that by the time you arrive, you know the nature of the crime you are going to fight so that you don't release it to criminals that are heartless. We are proud to say we have ordered 6 helicopters, 2 of them are here. These helicopters are going to be your backup to fight criminals, and these helicopters are going to be a source to direct you where criminals are so that you can go there and take out those criminals wherever they are hiding. We are resourcing you with the best form of technology to speak when you see crime and you need backup. all of you without exception, you will have the highest form of technology to speak when you need help, but the form of technology to press when you feel that you have arrived at a situation that needs backup. We are releasing you to do one thing and one thing only, to make Gauteng safe. We are not happy with lawlessness. And I'm saying to the citizens of Gauteng, what has happened at Maponya Mall, where taxi drivers think they can do as they wish, they must watch out. After we've trained you, after we've resourced you, after we've armed you, there will be no lawlessness in our province in Gauteng.
So it's also, Moloko, as I come to you one more time before I say goodbye, there's going to be this complication, isn't there, between the wardens, their powers, and also that of where the police come in as well. Just help me understand, if you can explain, where do these wardens come in? Where do they overflow or overlap with the SAPS? Because they're not police, they're wardens. Help me understand that, if you don't mind.
Well, you are correct, Gareth. They are not the members of the South African Police Services, but as I was speaking to the head of the Department of Community Services earlier, she says they are being trained to even arrest. They are also being trained to handle firearms. So that already tells you that they will be thrown into the deep ends. And I mean, we all know that the main problem of crime in South Africa is that it tends to be violent. The criminals just don't have respect for human life. They are armed to teeth. Some of them, as we have seen, particularly in other parts of the country, I recall in the northwest, during the arrest of the illegal miners there, they were armed with automatic rifles, the AK-47s, the type of a rifle which even the army in this country and the police are not permitted to utilize. So they are going to be confronted with that particular reality. Now the Premier is saying, look, we have spent money here. Unfortunately, even as we tried to press him to say how much exactly are you spending on this crime fighting initiative, he says we are spending a lot of money. He doesn't want to divulge. And of course he did say, obviously, the helicopters don't come cheap. And also over 200 vehicles, luxury vehicles or fast-moving vehicles, your BMW X3, some of them, they will be using those vehicles. They certainly did not come cheap. But of course, as they now will be going into communities, it is going to be dependent on how they behave themselves, because according to the MEC of Community Safety, Ms. Mazibuko, she's saying that, look, we're not going to tolerate you taking bribes and payolas, and you really need to behave yourself. We don't want to hear such stories. And as they now go into communities, the other question is whether communities will trust them, communities will cooperate with them, and believe that perhaps they are capable of doing the work. But importantly, I think South Africans, and in particular the people of Gauteng, will have to understand that the members of the South African Police Services remain the leading crime-fighting agencies there. They will be complemented by this crime-fighting wardens from the Gauteng government.
Moloko Moloto, an awful amount of money being spent in this. I imagine there's going to be a lot of pressure for results as well, off the back of what we saw with a similar initiative by the Western Cape government. I think that was called LEAP earlier in the year. Let's see if this makes a difference in Gauteng.